Have you ever thought about how much that brand new sofa or couch that you've just bought is worth? Sure, it's comfy now. Fast forward a few years and the springs start to go and you start to sag in it a little bit. It just doesn't feel like it did, obviously, when you first bought it. Well, you're experiencing depreciation. Over time, assets that you buy will fall in value, but you just don't see that fall in value in your bank account until you go and purchase it again. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what depreciation is, and I'm going to use your wonderful, warm, comfy sofa with no springs broken to explain. Now, I think it's worth explaining just what depreciation is. I think most of us understand it in principle, but basically just to highlight, you've got time across this bottom axis here, and then you've got value, and let's just say that's in dollars. Basically here, time zero, when you bought the couch, you paid some amount of money here. And then over time, what happens is that value drops significantly. But you don't see these drops in value because you're using the asset every day. You might feel it in terms of, it's less comfy, it's starting to weather, the wear and tear, all that sort of stuff. But you don't see that until you have to go and buy the sofa. So that's depreciation in action. And depreciation, all depreciation is, as a definition, is the fall in value of an asset, and this is the key bit, over time, right? So that's the definition of depreciation done, and I'm going to explain a little bit using some numbers just how this works. So you've got a lovely big couch here that you're sitting in, and there's some cushions and some legs, and you're watching your trusted TV. Right? What happens is the first year you buy the sofa, so we call that year zero, and you pay $1,000, right? And you keep that couch for 10 years. Now, by the end of it, the kids have spilled all sorts of food and drink on it. The springs have gone, the cloth's weathered, it's not as comfy anymore, and your partner's telling you, I'm sorry, I can't sit on this couch anymore. I have to buy a new one. We have to buy a new one, right? This is terrible. So by the end, you're buying a brand new one. And so the value of your current couch is actually zero. Now, if we explain this by way of a graph, we've got time and we've got value. So in that lovely couch shop, the salesman sold you that couch with extended warranties and all sorts of lovely cushions and various things. So you paid that amount here at year zero, and here's the 10-year time frame. Now, over time, what's happened is the value of the couch has done this, right? So if you tried to sell your couch here, you might only get, say, $500 for it, and that was, say, year three. And then by the time you get to year 10, it's actually time to buy the couch, right? So there are various points during this time period where you can actually sell this couch and probably get some money for it, right? But there's going to come a point, and I've assumed 10 years here, where the couch just has zero value, it has no value, and that's depreciation at work. That is the reduction in the value of the asset over time, over a time period. And for different assets, for different things you buy, time period could be very short, it could be very long. I mean, computers are a great example. Your computer probably has value for 2 or 3 years tops. New models come out, it has very little value by the end of it. Televisions are the same. Any kind of electrical good, they tend to not hold their value very, very well. And then you might have cars. Some cars hold their values much better, so their depreciation curve is much shallower. Others, you drive them off the forecourt and it drops in value by thousands of dollars. And after about 5 or 6 years, it's not worth very much. So different assets depreciate at different rates. But for this example, our sofa, our couch example, $1,000 and it reduced to zero after 2 years. Now, you then go and buy a new couch. Now, the thing to remember is when you've got to go and rebuy again, you've got to go and put a cash outlay out. You've got to go and buy a new couch. And that might cost you another $1,000, right? So we've got value and the couch going up in value, but we have this spike here, right? We have a capital expenditure that we have to make to replace this couch, this sofa, and that could be another $1,000. So you've basically got $1,000 that you spent here 10 years ago. You've seen the value of the asset erode, but you've got use out of it. You've obviously sat on it. You've had, your friends round. You've had family. You've got TV. You've had comfort, or your dog, whatever, right? And then ultimately it drops to zero, and then you've got to go and respend again. And then again, the cycle continues and continues. So depreciation is the reduction in the value of an asset over time. But what it doesn't mean is that you can't get a value from that asset over the period, right? You're still getting use out of it. It's just wear and tear. And eventually, the thing to take away is you have one cash outlay here, but then when you need to replace it, you need to do another cash outlay there. And so the depreciation cycle then repeats. Why this is important for your own finances and to understand is that different assets depreciate at different rates. Some actually appreciate, so you might buy art, you might buy property, whatever it may be. But for the purposes of a couch or some other consumable item within your home, it might be worth thinking about, well, if I bought something today and it had a value, is it going to hold its value over time? Which is why, some people, depending what you're into, buy really bespoke furniture, wooden furniture, some sort of furniture or a couch or a sofa that maybe has a meaning behind it. It's maybe a collector's item. And actually you'll find that the depreciation curve, if they bought it for $1,000, is way shallower, right? And actually instead, rather than the value being zero, they might be able to resell it for say $500, right? So different assets depreciate at different rates. I want you to take away from this video that ultimately, whilst assets depreciate, you do get use out of them. You've got to really think about how that's affecting your finances, because remember, there's going to be another cash outlay in the future, and helping to determine what that is good for you to help plan. So I hope you like this video. I'm going to do more videos like this where I use everyday household items to explain often complex financial concepts in a simple way. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really helps us to get the word out